What's up, family? Another beautiful day. Giving thanks and praise to God for you might conceive him or her to be for me. I'm just loving it. This clip I'm going to pray about this guy called Theo from Burkina Faso, from Africa. He's what you call he's a president, Theo from Burkina Faso. The new president, 36 years old. He's the one that changed the whole system up. Get rid of France people and run the whole country the way it's supposed to run. The country says the country is supposed to run by the people. He cut all the minister salary by 30% and give the nurses and the doctors and the policemen increase of 50% so they can live more better than before. He's a very good president. I mean, he's changing the whole dynamic about Africa, how people are supposed to live. And don't get outside help from outside people to come and take all the resources and don't give nothing back to Africa. All they cut loose. Anyway, folks, check it out, folks.
And Ibrahim Traore, the 36-year-old president of Burkina Faso, has shown the world exactly what that looks like. In one bold move, he reduced the salaries of ministers and members of parliament by 30% and increased the salaries of civil servants by 50%. Let's break down why this decision is so revolutionary and what it says about his leadership. When Traore took office, Burkina Faso was a nation struggling with inequality. While politicians enjoyed lavish salaries, civil servants, teachers, nurses, police officers, and others who keep the country running were barely making ends meet, Traore saw this imbalance and decided enough was enough. First, he slashed the salaries of ministers and MPs by 30%. Let that sink in. In a world where politicians often live in luxury while their people suffer, Traore made it clear that public service is about sacrifice, not privilege. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a powerful statement that the era of greed and excess in government was over. But he didn't stop there. Traore also raised the salaries of civil servants by 50%. Imagine being a teacher who's been struggling to feed your family, only to suddenly receive a life-changing raise. Or a nurse who can finally afford to pay for your children's education. This move wasn't just about numbers. It was about restoring dignity to those who serve the nation every day. It was about showing that hard work and dedication would finally be rewarded. The impact of this decision was immediate. Civil servants, who had long been undervalued and underpaid, felt seen and appreciated for the first time in years. Morale skyrocketed, and with it, productivity. Teachers could focus on educating the next generation without worrying about putting food on the table. Nurses could provide better care without the stress of financial insecurity. And police officers could protect their communities with renewed pride and motivation. But this wasn't just about fairness. It was also about accountability. By cutting politicians' salaries, Traore sent a clear message. Leaders must lead by example. They must be willing to make sacrifices for the greater good. And they must prioritize the people they serve over their own comfort. Imagine a country with vast agricultural potential, yet forced to import processed goods because it lacks the infrastructure to add value to its own produce. That was Burkina Faso before Ibrahim Traore took office. But in just a short time, this visionary leader changed the game by establishing 2 tomato processing plants, the first of their kind in the nation's history. Let's dive into why this is such a big deal and how it's transforming Burkina Faso. For years, Burkina Faso's farmers grew tomatoes in abundance, but without processing facilities. Much of the harvest would spoil before it could be sold. Farmers lost income. The economy missed out on potential revenue, and the country had to rely on imported tomato products. It was a cycle of waste and dependency that seemed impossible to break until Ibrahim Traore stepped in. Traore saw the untapped potential in Burkina Faso's agricultural sector and decided to act. He launched an ambitious plan to build 2 state-of-the-art tomato processing plants. These plants weren't just about preserving tomatoes. They were about creating jobs, boosting exports, and empowering farmers. Here's how it works. Farmers now have a reliable market for their tomatoes. Instead of watching their crops rot, they can sell them directly to the processing plants. The plants then turn those tomatoes into products like paste, sauce, and canned tomatoes, which can be sold locally and exported to other countries. This not only reduces food waste, but also adds value to Burkina Faso's agricultural output, bringing in much needed foreign revenue. But the impact goes even further. The establishment of these plants has created thousands of jobs, from factory workers to logistics personnel. Young people who once struggled to find employment now have opportunities in their own communities. And with the increased demand for tomatoes, farmers are earning more than ever before, lifting themselves out of poverty and investing in their futures. This move also reduces Burkina Faso's reliance on imported tomato products. Instead of spending precious foreign currency on goods that could be produced, the answer was simple: empower the farmers. And that's exactly what he did by distributing 400 tractors, 710 water pumps, and 714 motorcycles to farmers across Burkina Faso. Let's break down how this bold move is revolutionizing agriculture and changing lives. When Traoré took office, Burkina Faso's agricultural sector was in dire straits. Farmers were using outdated tools and methods, struggling to irrigate their fields, and facing immense challenges in transporting their goods to markets. The result? Low productivity, food insecurity, and a cycle of poverty that seemed impossible to break. But Traoré saw the potential in Burkina Faso's farmers and decided to invest in them like never before. His plan was straightforward but revolutionary, out of poverty and contributing to Burkina Faso's economic growth. The increased productivity has also reduced the country's reliance on food imports, saving millions of dollars and boosting food security. But perhaps the most inspiring part of the story is what it represents. By investing in farmers, Traoré is investing in the backbone of Burkina Faso's economy. He's showing that with the right tools and support, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. He's proving that agriculture isn't just about survival. It's about growth, innovation, and prosperity. Traoré. It tells us that he's a leader who understands the power of empowerment. A leader who isn't afraid to think outside the box and take bold action. And a leader who believes in the potential of his people to build a brighter future. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's leadership has sparked a remarkable transformation in Burkina Faso's agricultural sector, particularly in rice production. Under his guidance, rice output surged from 280,000 metric tons in 2022 to an impressive 326,000 metric tons by 2024. This increase is not just a statistic. It reflects a profound commitment to food security and self-sufficiency that resonates deeply with the hopes and aspirations of the Burkinabe people. Since taking office on October 21st, 2022, Traoré launched the Presidential Initiative for Agricultural Production, part of a broader strategy aimed at revitalizing the agricultural landscape. His government recognized the urgent need for improved agricultural practices and invested heavily in modern farming equipment, including 400 aimed at revitalizing the agricultural landscape. His government recognized the urgent need for improved agricultural practices and invested heavily in modern farming equipment, including 400 tractors and various agro-pastoral inputs worth 78 billion FCFA. This initiative has empowered local farmers, providing them with the tools necessary, resonated deeply with the people of his country. Since coming to power, Traoré has made it clear that Burkina Faso must reclaim its sovereignty, not just politically, but militarily as well. The presence of foreign forces, particularly French troops, had long been a contentious issue, with many Burkinabe feeling that their country's security challenges were being mishandled or overshadowed by external interests. In January 2023, his government formally requested the departure of French forces, signaling a decisive break from the past. This decision was not made lightly. It was a reflection of growing frustration with France's perceived inability to effectively address the escalating jihadist insurgency that has plagued the region. For many, the continued presence of foreign troops had become a symbol of dependency and a reminder of colonial ties that still lingered in the background. Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso is rooted in self-reliance. He believes that the country's security challenges can only be solved by empowering its own people and taking control of its own destiny. To this end, his administration has focused on mobilizing local communities, and strengthening national defense.
That's a leader.
efforts. The withdrawal of French troops
That's what we
was
call a
not
leader
just about removing
for
foreign
the people.
forces. It was about sending a powerful message to the world. Burkina Faso is ready to stand on its own. The departure of these troops marked a turning point for the nation. It was a moment filled with pride and determination, as citizens rallied behind their leaders' call for independence and self-determination. Traoré's decision reflects his unwavering belief in the strength and resilience of his people, a belief that Burkina Faso can carve out its own path, free from external influence. This move has redefined what it means to be sovereign in an era where many nations still grapple with the shadows of their colonial past. In conclusion, Ibrahim Traoré has effectively navigated and countered Donald Trump's criticism through decisive leadership and a commitment to self-reliance. Rather than succumbing to the pressures of reduced U.S. aid, he has turned this challenge into an opportunity for reform and growth in Burkina Faso. By emphasizing transparency, accountability, and local empowerment, Traoré has positioned his administration as a model for genuine progress in Africa. His rejection of dependency on foreign aid resonates with a growing sentiment across the continent, advocating for a future where African nations prioritize their sovereignty and development. This bold stance not only challenges the status quo, but also inspires other leaders to rethink their approaches to governance and international relations, marking a significant shift in the narrative of African leadership.
You see, that's what we call a leader. Someone for the people. I keep saying before, the people are the government are the people. Once you have a good leader for the people, things will go according to plan. That's what we need here. Instead of taking the money from here and sending other countries, and people are suffering and trying to live from day to day, take the money you send to other countries and put it in the people pockets here so people can live comfortable and not from hand to mouth. Folks, it will come to an end though. All good days have to come to an end. Like what folks say, night days will run the day, cash it. You can hide and buy land, but you can't even work it. Peace out. Subscribe, share, like, leave a comment. I'm out here. Much love.